Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Bruck Roll. Alright, I got a little project I want to do today. This is actually something that just popped up in the last few days, and in fact, I only really made the decision yesterday of how I wanted to do this and what I wanted to do. So let me show you what my plans are for today. When I come into the house out of the garage, the first thing I see, of course, is we got the laundry room here, but this house originally was designed with a mudroom here right opposite the washer and dryer. And the truth is, I don't really need a mudroom. You know, it's just not that big of an issue with me. For those of you who don't know what a mudroom is, it's an area where if you come into the house and it's been raining and you got boots and raincoats and all that stuff, it's an area where it's right near an entrance. You can come in, you can take your dirty stuff off before you have to track dirt all over the house. And like I said, I don't really have that much of a need. Most of the time when I come into the house, I come in through the garage, and usually I'm going, getting out of the car. So, I'm not going to be wearing a raincoat. I'm not going to be wearing boots, and I just don't really need a mudroom down here. What I do need is a storage space to store goods, that I buy, because I tend to buy things in large quantities if I can. And that sounds like I need something like a pantry. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some simple modifications, and I'm going to turn this into a mudroom. Basically, I'm not even going to take the coat hooks off the shelves here, or off the walls, because, if somebody ever wants to transform this back, then, they can do that. But what I want to do is I'm just going to put a shelf in here, and then I can store food supplies and stuff that I buy in bulk and quantity, and not have to store it in the garage. See, that was another issue. When I was in the house in California, I would store a lot of, I'd buy stuff in bulk there, and I'd store things in the garage. Well, that's not as good of a deal when you're here in Texas, where it gets really, really hot in the garage. So I've kind of avoided doing, storing stuff in the garage, that's going to expire or go bad because it's exposed to the heat. Paper towels, that kind of stuff, non-perishable things, that's fine. But it's better to move food stuffs back in here and keep it in the house. And so I think that's going to be my task for today. So let's run over to Home Depot and get some shelving material. All right, so I'm back from Home Depot. At this point, I think I'm just going to put one shelf in here. However, if need be, at some point I could put a second shelf in pretty easily too. I think one will be enough, and since I have a 66-inch gap in the in what's going to be the new pantry, and this is a 6-foot long or 72-inch shelf, I'm going to have to shave this one down a little bit to get it to fit. Now, the first thing I want to do in here is hang the brackets, and since all the shelves have to be perfectly level, I pulled out the laser level again, and that allows me to, make the decision where the actual lines are going to be, and be rest assured that when I do get them in there, that they're going to be perfectly centered. So basically, as it turns out, there's 5 vertical pieces here, and I'm going to attach a shelf or a bracket to each one of those. So I got the 5 brackets here, and we're going to put those on the wall right now. Alright, so I got the top screws inserted, and basically the brackets are just kind of swinging right now. But like I said, once I get the top one set and get the heights established, then it's just all a matter of making sure all of them are perpendicular with the ground, and putting in the rest of the screws. So I'm going to finish that up now, and let's get them all nice and level and all nice and flat, or perpendicular with the ground, all that we need to do, and then we can start hanging the shelves. Alright, so I got the horizontal brackets attached underneath here, all kind of set at the same level here, and I've actually shaved the shelf a little bit so it'll fit in here. I've actually also discovered that this is another one of those rooms that isn't entirely plumb. You notice how you get a big gap here and a lot less of a gap here. And it's the same over here. So obviously the wall is kind of warping in a little bit this way as we move further this way. So that's just kind of something I'm having to deal with in this house, and it's just part of the joys of being a homeowner in a nearly 50-year-old house. So anyway, I got the shelf into position. We're going to attach some screws to the bottom now so everything stays in place, and we should be done. Alright, so we got the shelves installed. Basically it's secured underneath by all the appropriate screws. Actually some of these screws in the back kind of came through the shelf a little bit, so I had to chop them off a little bit and then paint over the damaged area, but that's okay. This is kind of a shelf in a dark area, so nobody really noticed that. And this is going to give me a little bit more storage space in here. I can start using this as a food pantry rather than a mudroom, which I don't use. So I also have the ability at some point, if I decide I need more shelves, that I could actually move this one up a few notches and put a second shelf down here if I needed it. But right now I kind of wanted to leave some just kind of big spaces here so that I could put everything, put larger items in here. And I think this is going to do really well for me. This is going to be better off, I think. And we'll go from there. We'll see. We're going to let it dry a little bit now, and let's see what it looks like. We may have to get another coat if this thing gets a little too spotty as a result of the paint. But that's not a big deal, and that should be easy to fix. And so there we go. I think that's all that I have for today, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.